Hey, what's up, everybody? Jason Donaldson here from Jason Donaldson Healer, helping you remember, because to remember is to heal. So this is the second part in the sovereignty series. This is the level 2 of sovereignty, at least from an energetic standpoint. And this is the one where, as we've created our foundation by going through the first level, which was claiming our temple, going in, clearing our temple out, really embodying and owning that with statements and the breath of like, I am God, I am sovereign, I am free. And then we go to the next level where it's basically dancing with reality. As we have this foundation, as we have our stability, as we come into presence, then we can start to navigate and dance with what's created around us. And ultimately, everything's created within us. And there's things that are created that we get to dance and navigate. And so as we do that, in the old paradigm, it'd be about controlling or dominating, or like this pioneer sense. In like, if we get into galactic history, like the Lyrans were about like pioneering and claiming this space and controlling the environment. And now we're in a different kind of paradigm where it's about like being in harmony with the environment and dancing with it and coming into the new earth and what's a benefit for all, including nature and the other beings that are created around us, which are really all just us. And so this is where it starts to get fun, where if anybody's ever done any kind of partner dance, you realize you really got to be like aware of your own body and where you're at and your emotions and everything, and really get centered. If you're like an empath or energy worker or something, you notice more. And so as you connect with someone, even just touching someone, you feel their energy, and it's like, oh yeah, breathe, be in my energy field. And then you do the dance, and there's a certain amount of like intellectual understanding of what the moves are and how to move. And so that's a prerequisite too. But once we get that down, it's a matter of being present and in the moment and flowing with what is and being able to pivot. So like in the masculine principle would be, we're going this way. And we can't just like push the partner. We can't just like move them that way. Although that is part of it, but it's like a feeling where they're at and where their balance is, and an invitation to go that way, like a directing, a guiding versus like pushing. Because when I was doing like salsa dance and other partner dance things, it was very subtle, and every partner was a little different. You had to tune into their energy, and you had to like adapt and flow with what's there, and guide but not force, and then still guide but not just like be limp and not doing anything. So it was really a powerful thing. It was saying the first level would be kind of like Tai Chi, when you're learning to cultivate your own inner energy and your chi and how you move and how you stand in your body. And then the second level would be how you start to move in relation with everything around you. Like what am I choosing to create? What is the feedback from that creation? And also, what is it I have going on around me? And that's always our feedback, is an opportunity as we get that feedback to be like, oh, okay, go back to level 1 and feel what that brings up. Go back to the foundation. So no matter how advanced we get, we're always got to come back to our foundation, our foundational practices. And that's something I'm really learning recently, and why I'm doing these video series is I've really had to reclaim things that as I was studying and moving forward in life, very often teachers and clinicians and people would be like, forget all that stuff, don't do that, learn this. And so I would do that, and it got really confusing and almost tore me apart sometimes. And then I would always kind of go back like, wait a minute, there's something with this, and how can I use this with that and put it all together? And so that's what I'm doing more and more and presenting to the world, and that's part of this series. So and that's basically like level 2, where we're doing the partner dance, where we've learned and we've cultivated our foundation, and then we're navigating it with what's already created externally and how we want to create with it. And ultimately, as we do that, it changes. And that's the power we have internally. So whenever the external gets really weird and wonky, you always go inside and find your balance there. And then the outside starts to balance, because everything is created from within. And so like from a psychological perspective with this is flow state. And so there was a gentleman, Csikszentmihalyi was how you say his name, I think, pretty close. But he did a lot of research on flow state, and flow state is like everyone's favorite, because when you're in the flow state, you're just in this state of like tranquility and peace, and things just work. There's like a movement and a flow, and it just everything's clicking. And there's some like research with this where they've actually looked at the neurology, the fMRI studies and stuff, where they're seeing like decreased activity in the prefrontal cortex when this happens. And so the prefrontal cortex is like where executive function is, working memory, decision making, and really what sets us apart, where we can project into the future, we can plan, we can strategize. And so that actually is decreased because we're in this flow where we already set our intention, we're already doing, we know why we're doing the thing, we have a certain level of skill with that thing intellectually. So it's the muscle memory, and you're in the flow, and you're so present that everything's just clicking and moving. And this is with like the visualization. And so that would be like when you're really in that level 2 and you're really co-creating well and it's flowing, and then maybe something throws you off. And it's like, okay, that's the pivot point. And you see like athletes do this where something comes in and all of a sudden they're just like, whoosh, they're just kind of moving. And even like martial artists and stuff, they just got this flow where they're like, they feel it coming in and they're adapting to it as it comes. And so I wanted to share a little bit more about that, and I'll have it in the notes too, in the description. But also with the prefrontal cortex, that's where, I learned in college when I was getting my, when I was actually doing my bachelor's program, I took every psychology class at Hilo that they had. And there was like this correlation with, as the prefrontal cortex develops more fully in our mid-20s or early 20s, that's when a lot of the mental illness shows up, like schizophrenia and other things. And as we know, like a lot of times schizophrenia and things like that is like our psychic abilities and our powers, but without context or tools, it can be really confusing. And there's actually changes in the brain as a result of this they can actually measure. And it remains to be seen whether it's because of an actual illness, or is it because we're taking it on that this thing is bad and it's an illness and it's kind of tearing us apart. Because if you have powers and abilities and there's things you're here to express on this planet, especially like from a energetic realm or a realm that's not always supported socially, and you're not doing it, it can kind of tear us apart. And it's like the universe pushing us like, this is the thing, do the energy work, even though people are going to make fun of you because you're just holding your hands over somebody. And then you get the feedback from the people like, oh my God, I feel so much better. And you can't necessarily prove that empirically, but you get the feedback and it changed. So that's my advice too with this level 2 of sovereignty, is like, as you embody and connect with your gifts and your power, start to dance with it in the world and pivot and adjust. And if people are laughing at you, that's actually a good thing, because that means your message is getting out, and there's going to be people that are like nodding their head in agreement, like, yeah, I get that, and it's not that weird. And I know I laughed at things in the beginning too, and then here I am doing a lot of those things because there was a part of me that was scared to own it. And so level 2 sovereignty is to dance with reality. So dancing with reality rather than forcing and trying to dominate it. So hopefully you're all having an amazing day, and I'll have one more at least in the series, and I'll catch you all later. Aloha.